Hey everybody, Bob Chick for another edition of Monday Night Muscle. I'm here with Flex Wheeler and of course Sugar Shawn Ray joining us in the studio.
What's the sugar for?
Yeah, because I'm sweet, baby.
He's
I'm
sweet
like that.
Too sweet.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
There's some rap
baby.
songs they're like, man, dude, sweet.
We are talking all things.
Don't get me started. Don't get me
We're
started.
talking all things Olympia in
Yes.
this segment, gentlemen, because we've got it coming up, and it's coming up quick actually because we had that short year.
Yeah.
Olympia in December last year for the first time in history, and then of course we're on the short end now. So these guys, these athletes.
I never been on the short end.
No, nope. Shawn has, but
I
that's a whole
didn't
other
do that. I did.
whole other subject.
I didn't say that.
Well, let's talk Olympia, though, guys. Like I said, we've got literally just got a few months. So these athletes have been on the short leash, and not a full year of prep for a lot of them.
I want to put you on the spot.
Shoot.
Who you got for the Olympia this year? Knowing that everyone hasn't qualified, which, other than Rowley, I don't think anyone going
there's
in
a
to
few
qualify
guys.
who
Yeah,
can
dude.
actually be a threat for the title.
True.
know.
Yeah,
Right?
because
Other than Rowley, I don't think anyone can be a threat. So
there's going to be some talent that doesn't make it, but I don't know if they were threats for the title.
Yeah. So
Right.
big time. So as of right now,
All right.
include Rowley because we're thinking he's going to make it.
Okay.
Who you got?
We thought Rolly was going to make it last year.
Yeah,
True.
Same as
Flex Lewis.
Let's hope for the best from him, yeah. And we do have some unknowns.
Who you
right?
got?
Right now, we don't know if Phil Heath's going back in. I don't think
Who
he
you got?
is. Hang on. We don't know if Flex Lewis is going in. Now, he said he was going to go in, but we haven't actually heard anything.
He said that
No, he's
last
not.
year.
He's not.
Flex Lewis?
Yeah,
Is not going in.
He's not going out. of
Oh,
training
really?
this January,
No, I did not know
unfortunately.
this.
So Neil is stuck over in Mexico because of quarantine. He had a problem with his visa, whatever, to stay here. Couldn't get it done, so he had to go to Mexico. So he didn't go all the way back to Europe.
hang on,
So
this-
Flex Lewis is out,
So
unfortunately.
this is kind of breaking news now, Flex. I'm glad we brought this up because I was still under the impression that that was a possibility. So,
No.
so why is Flex not going in, though?
because his coach isn't here.
So wait, you don't go in the
What?
biggest show on
Come
the planet
on.
because your coach isn't going in?
Right.
This is Flex's dream.
You got to understand also, he's never
Right.
competed in the Olympia without his coach.
But
Wait a minute. Wait a
Unlike
minute.
Bro,
us.
at some
But-
point, you
but-
got to go out of the nest and learn how to
I
fly.
got to
The
ask
fact
the
is-
obvious.
Yeah.
You got Zoom these days.
This
you
is
got all these
crazy.
things. What do you need your coach in
You
person
don't,
for?
yeah. Your coach isn't the one competing on the Olympians. Like this is,
All right.
you could
They have
say
a
it's a
whole
team
different
sport. No, I know.
relationship, yeah.
We got all right. So we're gonna have to get Flex. We're gonna have Flex and Flex.
Yeah,
on a
we're gonna have to
future
have him
edition.
explain
yeah,
it. 'cause
Okay, so Flex Lewis.
I thought
is
this
out.
was Flex's dream, not necessarily the
So
trainer.
here's what you got now, right? So you got Big Ramy returning as the champ, okay, and he's going to be.
you got?
He's a contender. You've got William BONAC, and you can never discount him because that guy's about Mr. Consistent as it gets. You got Brandon Curry returning, and that's as far as we know for now. As top contenders go, is there anybody else we're leaving out? Dexter's obviously retired; he's gone. You got some of the new guys in there, right? You got.
Nick Walker.
Nick
just
Walker is a new,
qualified.
but he's a
We
new
got
guy. We're not going to put him up there yet.
Steve Kuklow's got to qualify, but he says
Kuklow's
he's going
gotta
to do something in
qualify.
Texas.
Yeah.
Sergio's got to qualify.
Yeah.
Now, as contenders go,
LABRADA.
let's go into the rest of our top five from last year because you had an emergence of some new talent up there.
What are the Olympia threat?
Well, that's the question.
That's my key question.
Well, hold on. Let's put some
Stop
quality.
rearranging my question.
Well, what I'm saying is, when
we got to break it down
you're
before we
saying
can get
new
to a conclusion.
people. Remember, everybody on that stage is beating everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
Ramy's Mr. Olympia, but he was beaten by everybody in that contest.
Very true.
So he hit his peak once. That's not a guarantee.
That's the
that
show
he's
to
gonna
hit your peak.
I know, but it's not guaranteed to be repetitive. We were waiting for Ramy to hit
Did you
that
see the
peak.
picture they just posted of him?
I did see it, and
No,
the Olympia is still a long ways away. I know.
But-
Well, let me throw out a name.
Odds on favor
because
is
he's
Big
got
Ramy.
the size to compete with Big Ramy, but does he have the quality?
Who?
AKIM. AKIM was what,
Don't
sixth
see it
last year?
just yet.
Fifth?
He was.
I think that dude's a freak. I sent him a private message
he is a
because I
freak.
am so impressed with him and his condition.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, right? Because so much can change, and we know that we can change things in weeks, right? We can change things in 24 hours.
Oh, yeah.
As of right now, we have to go off on what we're saying. We can't what if. Because we can what if everybody. We can what if you're back now.
Okay, so-
so how far do we go with that what if? We have to go with what we have
is
right
the biggest
now.
guy up there other than Ramy, right? He can go toe to
It's not
toe with
just
muscle,
size,
okay?
yeah.
But then you
I don't
got
think
you
so.
got Hadi Chupan, okay? So that's our top contenders.
And who
so
you
to
got?
say. we don't know if Phil's going to go back, and I don't think he is.
Think he is.
I would be.
Yeah,
We just seen pictures with him at the California.
I don't think so.
He's big, but I don't know if he's got
not
any
Phil
advantage.
big. He's not Phil.
He's not off-season big.
Yeah.
No, but he blows up quick. Like he could literally
He's
start
healthy.
prep now and be ready.
He's healthy, but I mean,
All right,
I
so
think if he was
I would
going,
have to bet and say
we
he's
would have
not.
heard about it from him. If
So
he
let's
was
assume that he's not.
Let's
in,
just-
just for our conversation.
Agreed.
Okay. So Big Ramy is nailed it once
once in his whole career.
in his career so far. Now, does he have the formula? If he comes in exactly the same, let's say,
I think he'll be better.
then I say he wins again.
Well, yeah, and
so even if he's the same,
If he's the same,
You got him.
I got him, and I'll tell you why. Incumbents always have a better shot of returning as champ.
Yeah, that's
we've seen this
true.
through
There's
history,
less weight
right?
on, yeah.
Even if they weren't as good, but they're the champ.
Slightly
You got to
off.
beat. And this is, and I hate this expression, but I'm going to use
don't
it.
You gotta knock
say
the
it.
champ out.
You got to knock out the champ.
Don't
right?
say it.
Now, I've always hated that because you don't have to knock out the champ.
You just have to beat
You
him.
got to beat him
Just
by
gotta
1
beat him.
point.
I agree. It's never happened.
Does
really.
Brandon Curry have what it takes,
To top
size-wise, to top Ramy?
What do you think?
Well, I don't think those guys are close. It's like either one or the other. Ramy's not going to beat Brandon Curry by 1 point. They're two different
Right.
bodybuilders. They don't even stand shoulder to shoulder. Either you like Ramy or you like Brandon Curry. We've seen them both hit their peak, and we've seen them both get rewarded for it. Brandon's beaten Big Ramy. A year ago, Ramy beat Brandon.
Let's say all things are fair.
Okay.
And the contenders are all nailed it.
Everybody nails it.
Yeah. Who you got?
That's an interesting one.
Who you got?
It is an interesting.
Ramy brings the wow factor.
If every one of them nails it 100%, and
Yeah.
what we know that they can bring,
Yeah.
I would
Their
have
full potential.
full potential.
Yeah. Who you got?
I would have to go with Ramy again.
I would agree because Ramy was that guy that, like Cedric
All of
McMillan,
us.
hold on, like
Yeah.
like Cedric, we were waiting for
Yeah.
Ramy to arrive.
Yeah.
And when he came out and we saw him not get worse and not fade, not bend
right.
over at the, he actually got better.
Yeah, he did.
And so now suddenly we were watching the emergence of Ramy arrive on the big stage
Well,
at
the
the right
posing
time.
is what brought him through.
Absolutely.
I honestly, to this day, think, and I
Worked
would
with
swear
Dennis
by
on
it,
posing.
that work with Dennis James is
Yeah.
not to take away from Chad, because he did his homework. And listen,
you got to be able to present
he
that.
brought him in
work.
100%, but if
Yeah.
you can't present it,
Yeah, don't mean
it
crap.
doesn't make any difference.
Posing was
You
all
know
the
that.
difference in the
You know
world.
that.
The
very
ace,
much so.
the ace up the sleeve
And
was
so,
Dennis
and knowing,
James.
and now him knowing that formula,
Right.
him knowing how far he pushed himself, how hard he had to get there, it comes down to like, what was the reign of being Mr. What did it feel like for him? If it feels really good,
I don't
he's
know,
he's gonna turn it up.
Listen, you might see a better Ramy.
I
this year.
agree.
I think we're
Right?
going to see a
He
better
doesn't have to be
Ramy.
bigger.
He's the
He just has to
current
be
champ.
better.
Yeah.
He went home to a hero's welcome. The entire country rallied around this guy and put him through the streets.
Beautiful.
You know,
Yeah.
like the astronauts returning from the moon. That's hard to not go back to. Like, you got to have that in your head that I want that again. I
I
want to
think
be
what
a
he has the
two-time
advantage
champ.
of some of the previous Olympia winners is he had nowhere to go after he won except
Correct.
home.
Right.
He didn't have to travel the world.
Yeah.
He
And
didn't
he's
get-
not that type of guy anyway.
he's quiet,
But you know
introvert.
what? It's interesting to see Ramy come to full fruition because since the day that we all seen him, right? The
Right.
first time we
York.
all said, this fool here
York,
right.
I remember.
is the future and can be a Mr. Olympia, an unstoppable Mr. Olympia. So based on those photos that he's seen, based on talking to Chad, based on talking to Dennis and how hard his prep was before, one of the things I got from it is now he understands what it takes to take a beating
Okay,
and what
that's
comes
fair.
out on the
Now,
on the end of it.
The X factor in being as good as he is the injury factor, which could happen.
Yeah.
We saw it happen with
You know
Dorian
what?
Yates and a lot of others. Hold on.
Let's come back to that right after this
There
break.
you go. I like that.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
And I'm back with Hall of Famers Shawn Ray. Chicky Baby is
Yo.
what I call him. Everybody call him Chicky Baby. You'll
He
never
has
know
for
why.
years.
Chicky Baby. And I'm just a limp. Anyway, so we're talking about the Olympia and what can happen. I'm going to throw another wrench in here.
Okay.
All right. Excluding Ronnie, because in my opinion, as of now, he's the best Mr. Olympia ever. I don't think anybody's going to ever.
Ronnie
pass.
Coleman.
Excluding Ronnie Coleman.
Excluding
Okay.
Ronnie
Okay.
Coleman.
Right.
All Olympias, well, I can't say that. guys who are going into the Olympia and previous Olympias, right? Who wins? All at their best.
Are we taking all the Mr. Olympias?
Yeah, we're taking all of them, including Lee.
Oh, this is so easy.
No, really? Who?
This is so easy.
Who?
Phil Heath.
Really?
Oh, I don't think it's that easy.
Absolutely.
I don't think
Listen,
it's that easy.
Listen, people tend to discount. Listen, you can't discredit 7 Olympia titles
No,
in
you
a row.
can't.
It has nothing to do with titles.
It has to do with who was the best.
I'm
He's
going
talking about
back, listen,
generation.
yeah.
Phil Heath.
We're
and
going back 56 years, Bob.
Well,
Almost
listen,
how old you
all
are.
right, I'm gonna piggyback that on this question to you guys. Who's the Mr. Olympia with the least amount of weaknesses?
Well, let me just tell you, and that's the one that should win.
Ronnie.
But I don't
Phil
see
Heath.
I don't see Phil Heath standing next to Ronnie Coleman
see, that's my thing.
1997
Yeah. That's
or
my
1998, I should say, standing next to Ronnie Coleman.
No,
I don't
first,
see any
yeah.
year of Phil standing next to Ronnie at
wait
his
a minute,
best.
He just said excluding Ronnie
him.
Coleman.
Yeah, I had to exclude
So
him
Coleman's
for
out
that
of this,
reason.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, for that reason. So this is
We're
the thing
excluding him.
is-
He's out. He's not even in contention for
This is my biggest
Phil Heath.
biggest
I
argument.
like Phil Heath
is,
for that argument.
That's what
I
I'm
like
saying,
Phil Heath.
right?
Okay.
Now
He's got the three-dimensional
Let's
look.
break this down under flex
So
circle.
above Rami, and I said at their full-blown potential,
Full blown.
not what they sound.
I'm not going
with
by
their full-
potential. Come on,
You
that's
have
just
to.
a very
Because
thing.
that's
This is
not-
my- this
a
is
lot
my
of people,
question.
A lot of people don't ever realize their
Stop.
full-blown potential.
Is my so
I don't
the
think
reason
you
why I
ever
say
realize
that-
your full-blown potential.
If we're taking Ronnie out, then
Yeah.
the next guy you have to go with is Phil Heath.
Okay.
In terms of overall completeness, because he had better calves than Lee Haney.
Well, listen, he's got.
Lee Haney had a better back taper.
I will fight anybody in this one. Phil Heath
Phil had
is
better
the
arms
Mr.
than
Olympia
Haney,
with
for
the
sure.
least amount of weaknesses out of any of them.
Okay,
ever.
I agree. I agree.
Hard to dispute
when
because
it
he
comes
wasn't
to
in his
weaknesses.
prime, 11, 12, or 13, pick one of those years. This guy head to toe, man, had it all. He wasn't
No,
missing
yeah.
nothing.
I would say that he's probably the more complete. I mean, obviously,
That's fair.
when I start looking at presentation, Phil gets blown away by Arnold Schwarzenegger on a front
Well,
double
come on,
bicep.
if we're going to
right?
go by charisma.
And a
Mr.
back lat spread,
Right.
Lee Haney crushes Phil Heath.
But I want to key on
But
something
in the
under
weaknesses, right.
Flex Wheeler rules. Okay, if everybody shows up 100% on the game day at the Olympia coming up, I want to go breakdown for breakdown. So
Okay.
if Rami is again, everybody's 100. Okay?
Yeah, gotcha.
Rami versus Brandon Curry. Why does Rami beat Brandon Curry?
On muscle. Rami's much bigger. Just it's a bodybuilding show. At the end of the day, the muscle
Right.
is what carried Rami to victory, including denying Brandon from being a two-time Olympian.
I think also shape. Yeah, shape. You just, as beautiful as Brandon's shape is, you just got to pay homage to that round, freaking just puking up muscle. I mean, a dude might as well puke in his chest. It's so full. His legs are ridiculous. His shoulders, his back, and everything like that. So not only the obvious, which is shape,
Sure.
because even like Rolly said, you can't F with that guy. No one can.
Well, let's go
I
with
think
Ruli
also-
because he's a
go
contender
with
in this, right? Rami versus Ruli, 100%. Shawn.
Rami wins that show all day long. Now, look, I like Rolly's confidence about beating the champion, but it takes more than confidence to beat the champion.
We would have to see that.
We've always said if Rami shows up in shape,
Right.
which he did, he's Mr. Olympia. If
Unfortunately.
Rolly shows up in shape, I don't know that he's
And
actually
he's
Mr. Olympia.
he's probably a closer contender, Flex, but I think when they turn around, I think that's where Rami beats
Rami's
Ruli.
wider. He's got a little bit more lower back, and
I think
you see
Rami
the
can hang
quads.
from the front. You'd agree,
Yeah.
Flex?
Yeah. Oh,
Those
yeah.
arms, I mean, listen.
Yeah.
I think the quad shape is different. I think
Yeah,
that
correct.
Rolly's
Yeah.
quads are more square and boxy, whereas Rami's are round and
Have you
and
seen
billowing.
any quads like that
No,
before?
we've never seen that on anybody. I mean, come on, he's,
So this
I would
is
probably say
structural.
second best, craziest quads would be Ronnie because they're just
Yeah.
slabs. But god dang,
And that's where Rolly has to play catch up.
Yeah,
Even
so
though
you
that's
were
a strong
saying-
point for Rolly.
you were saying all things even, they're all hot as hell.
yeah, we're all 100%.
Yeah.
Rami versus Hadi.
No.
I got Rami.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's too
Rami's
much
just
size.
too
Sure
big.
size. I
pure
mean, that's
size.
kind of an easy one.
Yeah,
It's not a
but
fair
I
fight.
will say Hadi probably was one of the better conditioned guys other than
Yes.
Rolly on stage last year.
Rami versus Akeem. Now, we haven't seen, this is interesting because we haven't seen Akeem in 100%.
No, but I've seen Akeem at literally every one of his pro shows.
Right.
He doesn't beat Rami. Now he's a good guy. He's a good
Even
guy.
if he nails it 100 again, he's 100 though.
I think,
He finally nails it.
Akeem nails it. He's a very good pro. I don't think he winds up in that top three.
You know what's
elite.
interesting
It's
is-
because it's a genetic part.
Yeah.
Listen, our boys, Akeem, his lats are very high.
Yeah.
The skin is very thick.
Yeah.
Even if he rips up the skin, it's still not going to look as detailed as Rami.
You know what's interesting is as we create these arguments, right? As we create these illusions of
Sure.
what these guys can look like. Some of us can, some of these guys we're talking about, we can very easily imagine what their body would look like complete. Other guys, it's just too hard.
It's impossible to
You know what I
fix.
mean? So
Yeah.
like AKIM, it's too hard to imagine was potentially there, and it's kind of almost like a Dexter. If you look at a Dexter or what's our man Shawn, Carita?
Sean
Clarita, yeah.
Clarita,
Carita.
yes.
212.
Yeah, if we would have looked at
177.
them, we could have never imagined that they had that in them, right? They just broke the mold.
Yep.
But some of these guys, it's easy. So you know, I just can't see what AKIM would bring to the table yet.
There's a lot of things that would have to happen for him
Yeah.
to do that.
And he's
it hasn't
brilliant.
yet.
Yeah, like I said before,
he's
I
good.
literally sent the guy a private message and said, man, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Because of what he did last year at the Olympia.
Certain poses. He looks better in certain poses than others.
Yeah.
Is there a black sheep in the crew?
Why you got to be black? How about a white sheep?
You had to go there.
I can't say there's a black sheep. Listen, this is one of those years where I think we know who all the players are way in advance. There's not somebody that's just going to pop up from Europe.
Who's got
Remember
the
remember
best
Europeans
shot?
used to
If
show
there
up?
isn't a black sheep, because there's really nobody there that's like we don't have a big Rami there right now. That's in that scenario.
Right.
But out of the new crew, out of the new blood that's there, who stands the best shot of placing the highest?
I can tell you. I mean,
Who you got?
if Hunter LABRADA dries up,
Yeah, you already said it.
if he dries up, which is all he really needs,
He's 8th last year, so
Again,
he's right there.
this is
right?
not a structural physical thing he's got to work on. This is a conditioning thing, which is a lot easier, I think. Some guys have to bring up their back. They got to bring up their calves. Hunter has everything.
got
All he's got to do is dry it up.
stoppers of
Now,
muscle.
remember, we are talking about a younger bodybuilder. The muscle maturity is
Correct.
not going to be there. 27, 28 years
Yeah,
old.
he's in his
He's pretty
20s.
mature
But he's only
muscle,
competed
though,
in so many shows, right? You were talking
He's
to
been
him.
on what, 6 shows, I think, including the Olympia?
We got to watch these mistakes happen on the Olympia stage, but the maturity comes with age. And again, when you're a different bodybuilder in your 30s, you know, if I take that 98 flex and put him up against that 93 flex, which I thought was the all-time best, they're two totally different bodybuilders.
I thought
the
98 was
the
winning.
jump to 98 from 93,
Who did you have?
What?
With you?
98 to 93.
Oh, no. I
You
was
comparing you, yeah.
No, 98 to 93, 98.
You were a man. You were a man
Yeah,
in 98.
exactly. Yeah,
Bro, 98
because as shredded as I was in 93, I was actually depleted. And you can't look at overall size.
Sure.
You
219
can't look
pounds.
at 16. Yeah, 16.
216.
Yeah, you can't look at overall size. You can't look at our overall condition. You have to put them together so that shredded drive that I had in 93 wouldn't be able to deal with that guy who
Right.
was the same type of shape,
245?
more shape at 240 something with that roundness and fairly good condition.
Which
But
show,
of all of them, 99 English Grand Prix.
Which show, because I don't know exactly which one this is, so your answer is going to be interesting. Which show did the picture come from where you're doing the kneeling, twisting?
That was 93.
That's tough to beat.
No, I told that. I told him a million
that's
times
tough
that's
to
his
beat.
best.
But I'm back thick. So it's hard to be depleted in the back
I
as
mean,
much
but
as it is a chest.
you were
and
so
the arms and everything.
separated.
Yeah.
There's moments in our
That
careers
picture,
that
there's
are
iconic
defining,
pictures in this game.
Yeah.
There's Sergio with the myth pose, right? There's iconics, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
Arnold
Have you seen
obviously-
pictures or the video of 99
I'm
English
sure,
Grand Prix?
yeah, that's
You're swollen, full blown.
Yeah,
That's you and Kevin and Ronnie, right?
And Ronnie, yeah. And literally, even Ronnie and Vicky and all of them, like, dude, you have
Does any
you're
show
winning.
surpass that, Sean? That 93
Well, for
English
me, the
Grand
90
Prix for these guys?
for me, the Grand Prix weren't it. The Arnold Classic was it. And when Flex stepped on stage in '93 at that show, it was like there was nothing before and there was nothing after that I saw that I was more impressed with. Now, size is relative, right? When I saw Dorian Yates,
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
holy
yeah,
crap.
yeah,
When I saw
yeah.
Lee Haney in '91,
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap.
You got out of all of us, you're the one who got to stand on stage with him. What
Yeah.
an honor that was.
Yeah.
So I'm going to reverse that question.
Sure.
Best Shawn Ray ever, what year?
I mean, for me, there's more things than just maybe looking at
Best
me.
Shawn Ray.
For
what
me,
year?
how I felt. For me, 94, but it was
94,
very, for me,
95?
I'm going to tell you, 1987 for me, I mean, everything in synchronicity, I felt like there's nobody better, right? Everything fell in place from the color, from the Pro-Tan, as a matter of fact,
Pro-Tan.
to the posing routine, to the guys that I just was overwhelmed with that I'd never seen before in life. I'd never competed next to JJ, I never
Right.
stood next to Phil Hill. For me, that was like one of those first. Now, 94 Olympia, I remember you were like the last guy I talked to before I flew to Atlanta for that show.
Yeah.
I was cocksure that this was going to be my show and it was going to be my year. When it didn't happen, it kind of took a little bit of the fun out of it. Like it took a lot of energy out of my sail. 97, I rolled in and I wound up victorious. That was my year. At 87.
Bob Bino.
Yes, sir.
I peaked
baby.
early.
Best year ever, Bob.
For who?
You.
For me?
You.
Oh, that's easy. USA.
Really?
US, Mr.
Wow.
USA.
That was the U.S. because of my unique circumstance where it took me forever to get there and all that. The USA.
2000?
2000. The USA became my Olympia.
Yeah.
Now, at that point, I'm 35, 34, which at that time is, a little older for getting in. Now, guys are, in their 40s when they turn pro. But so for me, the USA became my Olympia. Even if I made it to the Olympia after, which I did, and I thought I looked good there, but nothing would ever top.
Well, that's what I was saying about the 87
Nothing
for me.
nothing could top the USA.
For me, the
USA
87 was my Olympia. I was young. It was
Right.
peaking out really early. Everything after that was
It's
kind of
really
downhill.
interesting something about a young body, right? I mean, and I guess it's different because in our era, I would argue that our younger years could rival our later years, where
Yeah.
It's
some
arguable,
competitors
right? I
really
mean-
couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So
My front
it's
double bicep in 87 wasn't there yet.
a little bit more size and a
Yeah.
lats. I get it.
You know what's interesting, Flex?
What's that?
Everybody I've ever interviewed, and I've interviewed everybody, right? Ronnie Coleman. I said, Ronnie, you line up all the Ronnie Colemans, 98 to 2000, and what was his last one? 6?
Yeah.
Right?
6.
What year did he
Who
pick?
wins? He says without hesitation, not even anything you have to think about. He says 98,
98, I agree.
right?
Yeah.
I talked to
Yeah.
Tom Prince. Tom, out of all the physiques, you were third in the NOC that one year. Everybody thought you should have won, right? You were huge. I go, which physique do you like the best? He said, I think it was 97 Nationals.
97 Nationals.
Everybody picks
Earlier year.
the earlier.
Except me.
Well, except for you, but I'd
Yeah.
argue you against you on that because listen, bro.
I took pictures.
that
I've
physique
literally
is
took
so
pictures.
93.
Yeah.
93 is so impressive.
Arnold even said it.
I don't know how you
Because
get.
he didn't
what is he
see
now?
98.
I don't know if you
or-
get
or
better than
two.
that.
Yeah.
So, Shawn, let me ask you, when you're hot as hell, like you were, right, and you don't get the accolades that you deserve, which we all can admit, we can look back in time and say, dude, you should have won that one.
Yeah.
Does it take some fire away that never comes back?
It does, because I was up against, I felt like more than a man, a machine. I was up against an institution. The opportunity for the shorter bodybuilders sailed away from me in 1983 when Samir Banu got beat by Lee Haney in 84.
Yeah.
Because now you're 5'10", 250, and then Dorian 5'10", 260, and then Ronnie
Right.
5'10", 280. That window was closing for me, which is why I walked away. I didn't get pushed out.
Right.
In 2001, I had gas in the tank. I was fourth,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it became more. It became more business for me.
Does it take the ability for, because we all know that the hell we had to go through to come out on the other side. Did it take away that ability to send yourself into the bowels of hell?
Yeah, I mean, I
'cause you're
thought I could win.
Yeah.
I thought I could win. And the latter part of my career, I needed to survive. I went into survival mode. I didn't want to get injured on my way out. I wanted to compete. I wanted to hang, but I wasn't going to go down there and do the things that Ronnie Coleman was doing.
Or what you may have used to did when you were younger.
Yeah, I think when you're young, the reckless abandon, we try to do dumbbell laterals with 100-pound dumbbells, right? I mean, we would attempt it,
Of course.
and then work our way down the road. But as I was getting older, I wasn't hanging out with those kind of weights. I was cautious to do heavy bent over rows. I was aware that doing lat pull-ups could be dangerous for me. So the older you get, the more cautious you get. But I think the wind comes out of the sail when you realize the inability to win. And that's what I was competing for.
Yeah, I know the wind came out of my cells in 99. I kicked my own ass in 98 backstage because I remember, I don't know who was in a room with me, but it was two other guys, and unfortunately on their best day, they wouldn't fare out well at the Olympia. We just understand matchups.
Sure.
And I listened to those two guys talk, and they talked about how they felt they could win. And I remember laying on the ground, I was laying on my back, and I was like, what the F is wrong with me
Right.
that I can't believe that two guys who could never even place in the top 10 are up here talking about how they're going to get down. So that bothered me, and I said, you know what, never again. And then in 99, when he won by a perfect score instead of a 2, I'm like, it's a wrap, it's done. That
that's it.
door is closed for me. So for you, battling so long, when you finally made it, was you the same Bob? Could you go back and go through that hell or how many years did it take you again
12,
for everybody?
13.
My whole
13
career.
years.
You already answered
my whole
question.
career.
Yeah, listen,
87
from
you
the
already
time
answered the
time
question.
me and Shawn made our national debuts in '87,
Good God,
right?
12
Through your
years.
time at 90, I passed all you guys, right?
Good
I mean, you all
God.
graduated, and I had to keep going, but
There's something to be said for that persistence because
Oh,
more
geez.
Or stupidity.
You saw more. No. You saw more people
I'm not
quit.
hearing that.
You
Yeah.
saw more people quit
True.
when you hung on.
Yeah.
And that says something about perseverance. Not only that, I mean, listen, all of those things that we went through, all that hanging around that you did, put you where you are today.
Exactly.
And able to. I remember when you came to the Olympia platform to MC your first Olympia 15, 16 years ago. I mean, that's 15, 16 years ago. That was longer than your amateur career in bodybuilding.
True that, yeah.
So
up at the podium longer now.
Some of the things that we go through shape us for where we're going. Again, it takes me back to the Mike Tyson story that I just witnessed.
Yeah,
And
ludicrous,
What
man.
a train wreck. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
Customato had him right where he wanted to be as
sure
the
did.
world heavyweight champion.
He sure
and
did.
then to see him in the back of a limo with handcuffs on, then to come out and get beat up time and time again, and then we watched Mike quit on the floor, right? He was
Yeah,
on the ring getting
remember?
beat by McBride or whoever
Yes.
whoever that guy's name
Whoever
is.
that guy was.
And then we just expected him to disappear as he's kind of like selling his boxing practice in Las Vegas, right? And now the guy's like back, like he's reinvented himself. He's
Yeah, I'm
probably
back.
making more money than he
Yes.
was when he was
Yes.
getting his
Yeah.
brains beat out.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you're at, even when you're going through the trials and tribulations of hitting your head up against the wall. There's always another door that's going to open if you can hang on.
Yeah, well,
and that's where
hanging
you
on-
get props from me, hanging on.
And sometimes you have to reassist and refocus your thoughts. I remember you saying, and you just kind of alluded to it right now, at the beginning, you felt that you'd be Mr. Olympia champion, and when
I believe that.
And when that fairly didn't happen, which it should have, I believe that it should have happened. You refocused and said, okay, now I'm a businessman. I can generate X amount of money based on these shows that I couldn't if I went back to school or anything
Right.
else. So you have to refocus that. So what was your refocus when you finally made it to the Olympia? Had you already started thinking about other things? Because there's one thing when you're in the heat and you have the possibility, there's no effing back door.
Right.
There's
no
no
plan B.
freaking back door. There's no plan B.
To me, it was simple. I was in the bonus round after. Bro, I could have retired. Seriously, I could have retired the day after winning the USA.
Because you had
And
just
been done, because I did it. I've turned pro.
That's what you
Yeah.
wanted.
Now, whether you competed as a pro, whatever, listen, I'm in the bonus round at that point, right? I competed for a few years. I had some good finishes. Almost won the Night of the Champions against Marcus Rule. He's got to show up at his all-time best.
Yeah,
I was there for that
Rule.
show. Yeah.
So I got to catch this monster
I
on
actually
his best
presented him
day,
the award.
right?
I presented him the award.
Right, yeah, thanks a lot, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I made it to the Olympia. Great. Now listen, the second I got there, it was an easy, listen, I had no delusions. I wasn't going to be beating Ronnie. I was just going to do the best I could and then go from there, right? And meantime, I had signed a contract with GNC, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
subsequently a brand new company that nobody knew nothing about called Bodybuilding.com.
Yes.
Which turned out pretty favorable.
good.
So I
Pretty good.
decided at that point, to your question, Flex, I knew at that point my path was not going to be Mr. Olympia. That was when I was 14, 15. It was going to be, can I be the best spokesman I can be for this company and other business ventures?
Right.
And then in 2006, when I went in the Masters Olympia, Masters
Yeah.
World Championships, that was going to be my last show. So I just turned 40. Remember, we were kicking around in your backyard, actually making your videos and stuff and all that stuff. I decided, you know what, this is going to be my last show, and then I'm done.
You called me out.
Interesting, I did call you out. Interestingly,
Did you ever believe that you would become the voice of bodybuilding?
No.
I've known you all, since
No.
you came to Gold's Gym. Actually, your tremendous, recognizable voice used to always bother me, right?
Right.
Because it was so powerful. But did you ever? And when did that happen? When did that happen? It looks like it kind of started happening. You not knowing it because of bodybuilding.com and so on.
Right.
You got your feet wet. But when did you finally seal that? Like, wow, this is gonna be a new thing.
It
for
just
me.
kind of happened. Like it kept rolling. I kept getting other gigs, and hey man, can you do my show? And yeah, hey, I like your stuff. Can you do? Sure. And then we started doing the Olympia, and me and Shawn were up there, sharing that. But in 06, I won the Masters. Basically retired on the stage, right? I'm going to go out on top, man. Can't get this chance again, right? And then Robin Chang came up and he says, "Hey, nice job, champ. Great. What do you want to do?"
You want to co-host the
And
Olympia
I go,
with me?
and I go, what do you mean, right? And he goes, well, you qualify with that win, you qualify for the Olympia.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think of that. Like, that wasn't even on my mind, right? I'm just like, oh,
You're in. You're in.
No, talk about an easy decision, right? It's like, oh, look, I just turned 40. All right, I can go out with a win. I'm at the Olympia. We just did the thing with Triple H right at the Olympia.
Yeah, I remember
me and
that.
Shawn are doing our thing. So I
got to fight with him up on stage.
I got the microphone. Well, that was all staged. But
Yeah, I know.
we can say that now. We can tell the truth, but that was all scripted up.
He would have lost.
You would have lost.
There was a lot of guys
He
in
did
the
not want no
audience.
part of this.
Yeah.
So
I bet.
I chose the obvious. It's like, look, Robin, I'm not at best. What am I going to do? Take a 10th at the Olympia? Great. I could buy a new suit, be up there with Shawn, right, and being the voices for the Olympia now, and that's the path I chose. So
What about you? Because amazing career. We all know that. Fierce competitor. Got into a lot of different business adventures and everything like that. But segueing into all the things you've done, being on Olympic stage, hosting this show, MD with Flex Forever. Did you ever see that was going to be your path?
Yeah, because our industry is ever evolving, I've always tried to be on the media side because that's what I wanted to do coming up. It coincided with my bodybuilding, so doing the whole Flex magazine workout and creating those little DVDs along the way, the production side really captured my interest, and I knew that when I was done bodybuilding, like you talked about getting an education, I wanted to be able to take this education I got. So I learned how to promote a show. I learned what the sponsors want. I learned how to. I took acting for the camera, voice and diction. I didn't want to be an actor, but I knew I was going to be.
You did that?
Yeah,
Acting.
in college.
Wow.
I did.
You did
It's
too,
a
didn't
whole
you?
nother thing taking an acting class, right? Because it's words on a piece of paper.
Right.
Then you got a partner that's also reading separate words on a paper. Now you got to go back and forth. Now you got to turn down the audience lights where all your peers are watching you and make this thing come believable.
Yeah.
And it's a scary proposition. I know you've done some acting, but and it put me in an element of like trying to capture the audience. I know I'm going to walk into a room full of people and going to want to hear what I have to say, so I got to be ready. You got to be on. So that stuff prepared me for the cameras rolling. Speaking and interviewing. Being on this side is one thing. Being on that side is another thing. And hosting shows.
Whole different animal.
Like the golf tournament we have.
Right.
We have the golf tournament. You get the bodybuilders out of the gym, put them on a golf course, get them, and they're totally out of their element.
Oh yeah, they are. Huh?
Some will take, you're not too bad. Some take to it like fish out of water, and others don't. But I think every bodybuilder on that Olympia stage is going to come to that crossroads. Is what I'm going to do when it's over.
Well, right now they're in the thick of things, and we're looking forward to it. But the guys, great catching up, obviously, on all things Olympia, and of course, always great to go down memory lane with our stuff and our Olympia experiences. But we got a great one coming up this year, and it's literally around the corner. Hopefully, we'll have that full boat and Flex just for once. I would, not that it can ever happen, but I would love to see everybody just show up
lit,
even if it's just close to 100%. Right? Just lit up, right? Just
lit.
Everybody nails it, man. What a great competition!
Well, I will tell you the welcome addition is we're going to have everybody there. Last year we had a few people missing.
Right.
This year we already got confirmation. Lee Haney's going to be there. Lee LABRADA's going to be in the house.
Everybody named Lee
is going to be in the house. Flex will be there. Everybody's coming out for this one. So if you're ever going to win the Olympia, this is the one that you don't want to miss. That's for sure.
Tickets are on sale now. Pay-per-view.
October 7th to the 10th, Orlando, Florida. Be there, and we'll bring you all the action right here next week on Monday Night Muscle. For Bob, Flex, I'm Shawn Ray, and we're out.
Pimpin' ain't easy.